So sit back, relax, and let's start building. We're starting out by building a drill bit to help us clean our keyboards. We'll hot glue the head of a toothbrush to this bottle cap like so, and then attach it to the chuck of our drill. Now we can use the drill to help us brush away any loose dirt and debris from our keyboard. Let's convert our angle grinder into a circular saw. Screw in a large T-shaped door hinge to one end of this MDF. Then we'll attach the angle grinder to the long lever of the door hinge and make a slit in the MDF. Now we can use it just like a circular saw. We can use wing nuts as wire clips. We can pin these two sheets together with just a couple of zip ties and a couple of washers. Pass the first zip tie through the hole with a washer on both ends. Then use the second zip tie to fasten everything together. And lastly, just clip off the ends of the zip ties. Carrying large sheets of plywood is difficult and awkward. We can make a tool that can help us out. We'll solder this rebar together into a shape that looks like this. Then we'll add plastic tubing around the rebar for extra grip. We can see here how an expansion anchor works from the inside. Next, let's make an LED light that turns on when plugged into a USB outlet. First, we'll take a capacitor and solder it onto the USB plug. Then we'll solder on an LED light. Now we can plug in our light into our laptop or into a power adapter. Is there an easy way we can solve this equation if we don't happen to have a calculator? We can use this tape measure. Find the number we need and then fold the tape back on itself. We can even mark it in case we forget. Here's a helpful way to secure a chain to the stud by passing a bolt through the center. We'll need to add an adapter fitting to stop this faucet from leaking. First, we'll remove the faucet. Then, we'll add an extra metal fitting that we can safely heat up. Now we can use pliers to pull out the old fitting. We'll then use a pipe welding machine to make sure the new fitting fits nicely. Lastly, we'll screw our faucet back on. Now there's no more leaking. We can attach these razors to this comb with a binder clip and run it over our sweaters to remove any fabric pilling. Here's how we can cut this wood to fit this pipe through. Trace the pipe's circumference and then find its center. Now we can use a hole saw drill bit to cut out that circle. Our next project, we'll be making a little table using nothing but MDF and a router. Screw the board in place and then turn it to make perfectly round cuts. Now we'll cut the two legs so that they fit together. Then screw the tabletop onto the legs. It's that easy. We can round off these corners by first cutting a separate board in the shape that we want. And then we can use a special drill bit to trace along that board. We can turn these washers into a clip to hold rope together. Cut a notch out of the washers and pass a bolt through them. Wrap the first rope around the bolt and pass the other rope through the washers. Looks like this wrench isn't big enough to help us unscrew this cap. Let's use some rope and a square dowel instead. For our last project, we'll be making a miter joint with a thick spline in the center. We'll start by gluing two pieces together, cut at a 45-degree angle. Then we'll mark out where our spline will be using a pencil and a marking gauge. Saw out this area that we've marked out. And we can remove the rest of the wood using a chisel. Glue the spline into the space we've cut out. After it dries, cut off the excess wood. Then we'll sand everything to a smooth finish. Now just add varnish to seal the wood. This bolt is too loose to screw into this block. Here's a quick way to make it secure. We'll cut a notch into the bolt itself and then shave off the edges of another bolt to create a wedge. Now we can put the wedge into the notch. And then we'll hammer the bolt into the stone. This will expand the bolts into the block, making it secure. How about adding a bit of decoration to these drawers? We can square off a log to match the size of the drawers and then cut off a few rounds. Add some glue to the ends of the drawers, place the rounds on top. Add a bit more glue or varnish to the top of the rounds to seal up any pores. This gives us a nice rustic look. We'll be using this log to make a napkin hole. We'll need to cut out a slab and then run it through a planer. This will give us an even edge. We'll do the same with the sides. Now we'll cut this piece of wood into 2 equal lengths. Now we want to cut out a space for the napkins about 3 inches deep in the center of each piece. We'll use a marking gauge to get an even length on each side. Cut out the center and then add tape to the 2 pieces. Add wood glue to hold the corner edges together. Add some varnish and let it dry. Here's a neat way to use your angle grinder as a sander. Start by adding some double-sided tape to the back of a CD. Cut off the excess tape. Do the same to the other side. Now we'll apply some sandpaper to the double-sided tape. We'll do the same and cut off the excess sandpaper. Drill a hole in the center of the CD using a bit that matches the angle grinder. Again, apply sandpaper to the other side and remove any excess. Now we'll secure it onto our angle grinder, tighten it up. Now we can use this just like a belt sander. Our next project is a little tool that'll help us find the center of things. Start by joining 2 strips of wood together with glue at a right angle. Then add another strip at a 45-degree angle on top of the joint. Now we can quickly find the center of this log by making a few marks. We can even use this tool to make circular cutouts. Find the center of this board just like we did before. Then hammer a nail through the board. Now we can hammer this nail into our table saw. And with just a few cuts, we can remove the nail and we have a nice round circle. Our channel is full of videos with tips, tricks, and life hacks. If you want to stay up to date on all the latest videos, then subscribe to the channel. Learning new things is always a great investment of time. And our channel is here to help you finish projects and maximize your workspace.